Welcome back to Forza Horizon 4. It is officially the winter season out here, and with it comes a brand new car for us to go and jump in. Spoiler alert, this thing is absolutely incredible. The Mercedes E63S, which you get from completing 50% in the winter season. And I've heard some rumors that we have some insane upgrades. I want to do something very different with this car that we haven't done maybe in like a couple of years. Anyways, we will come back to that in a moment. As per always, Forzathon shop for the week, and oh boy, it's not looking like it's a good one. Well, if you're interested in some very mediocre cars in Forza Horizon 4, there you go. All right, let's go unlock this E63. This thing is gonna be an absolute animal. 575 feet. Is that enough? Is that enough? Yes, it is. I think by 1 foot. Thank you for 50% completion. The Mercedes AMG E63 has been unlocked. It's actually an S1 class car, which is kind of insane. It's all-wheel drive. Probably if you made it rear-wheel drive, you could bring it down to A class, but the party piece of this car is that insane engine. 600 horsepower, 620 foot-pounds of torque. I will say it is a little bit of a big, heavy boy. 4,500 pounds. I said that this is a very, like, me type of car. For those of you who may be new around here, I am absolutely in love with these big cars that, to the average person, don't really look like very much. I mean, if you don't really know anything about cars, this just kind of looks like a Mercedes sedan. My personal favorite is more like the estate versions, which are 1,000 times cooler. Anyways, let's give this thing a go, bone stock, before we get into any upgrading, which, like I said, I want to do something different. But this is a big old V8. How does it sound? It's probably copy-pasted. Yup, that sounds like a C63 from back in the day, but it's okay, I guess. It's not that it's a bad sound, it's just that it's not really super accurate to the real-life one. Anyways, let's go jump into a race immediately. E63S, and away we go. So we've got all-wheel drive. We've got basically everything that we could need to be basically at home, living in luxury. I mean, it's a big Mercedes at the end of the day. It does have 600 horsepower, but Mercedes just makes their cars super drivable, super easy to drive. Like, anybody could drive one of these cars. The whole thing with, like, AMGs in general is just drive it onto the Autobahn, rip it up to like 180 miles an hour plus, and just sit there in comfort, imagining you're doing like 50. That's what these cars are built for. That is what Mercedes does so well. And somebody in Twitch chat brings up a very good point when driving an interior view. The speedometer is not in the center. That is in fact driving me crazy. Mercedes, I was expecting your attention to detail to catch that. However, somehow it hasn't. If you're an OCD type of person, this is not the car for you. Wait. You guys are saying it's actually in the middle in real life? It's just they messed it up in the game? No way. Oh, well, okay. Mercedes across the line in a bit of a jank fashion, but I will gladly take the victory. Unbelievably easy to drive. Why don't we try to make it a little bit more difficult? If we jump into the upgrade section for this car, we jump all the way over to conversion. Correction, that's not where it is. If I jump over to aero and appearance, front bumper, we've got these. These are BRABUS parts. BRABUS is basically like, imagine AMG, but even better. And I was thinking today, usually, you know how I go into Forza Horizon 4 and I try to build like an S1 class car or like an A class car. What about instead of doing that, why don't I actually turn this into the BRABUS? Because BRABUS takes this E63 and, as you can tell by the back, turns it into this car called the BRABUS 800. I've actually got the spec sheet of the BRABUS 800 pulled up. It has the same engine, but it's got upgraded twin turbos to bring it up to 800 horsepower, 1,000 Newton meters of torque. Why don't we try to, like, replicate the BRABUS 800 in Forza Horizon 4? It could be pretty fun. I mean, real quick, though, before we go and do that, I do just want to take a look at the engine swaps real quick. We've got a V10 5.2 liter. That's not bad. And we've got... Okay, we will be back for you. There's some V12 swaps, and then there's other V12 swaps. Okay, there. We're in the middle of winter. We usually don't race around in the middle of winter. Why don't I toss on snow tires to this car? It's something people would do in real life. It's pretty fun, and we can give that a go. Let me pull up the tire sizes. In real life, BRABUS has their own wheels. They may or not be like the ugliest wheels I've ever seen in my life, but they are BRABUS wheels, so we will toss them on. Anyways, we've got some engine spacers as well, which means... that's not bad. We've got a little bit of poke there. That's actually pretty solid for a sedan. In the rear, bring them out as well. That's pretty meaty. I like it. Looking good. They also say they're running BRABUS brakes. I'm gonna equate those to being like race brakes in this game because... I mean, BRABUS probably makes some good stuff. And then here's the key point. 800 horsepower, 1,000 Newton meters of torque. After all of our upgrades, I tried to make it like as accurate as possible. We've got 803 horsepower. I think we have close to 900 foot-pounds of torque just because the way Forza upgrade system works isn't the best. Hey, we've got advanced painting options. No way. So this is that for some reason. And our primary paint group is the majority of the car. This is what an AMG is supposed to look like. Yo, that is actually ultimate sleeper mode now, because you can't actually see the badges on the back. It's like it's almost debadged. That is super cool. I didn't even think about that when I was painting it, but that's actually come out very, very well. Anyways, with 800 horsepower now, we've got some pretty quick nippiness of the, I should say now, BRABUS. BRABUS 800. Here we go. So, off the line we go. 800 horsepower, helping massively against the plebby inferior BMWs and apparently the people who like to press the brakes a lot. It's definitely mafia mode, that is for sure. If you see that coming up behind you, eesh, you probably start thinking back to what you've done wrong and who you've spoken to. It's not only mafia mode this car has. The E63 also has a very cool mode called drift mode. I am not even joking. You activate drift mode and then it becomes rear wheel drive with 600 horsepower. Basically all it is a mode for you to flex on your friends as you do donuts in your $140,000 sedan. Audi and Porsche, goodbye. Y'all got nothing. Nope. Gonna do a little switchback on the Audi. He gone. Would somebody like to explain to me how a Volvo is beating a BRABUS? In what universe is that? But never mind. The Mafia car has enabled Mafia mode. Yeah, the Volvo literally pulled over for me. BRABUS 800. So easy. Again, even with the extra horsepower. The AMG is just so good. It's just so easy. Now, I'm just kind of interested. It's not every day you get given this option. Mercedes CLK GTR. That's the super race car-y Mercedes. I don't even want to make it rear-wheel drive because that seems like a death trap. Twin turbo our CLK, and we've got nearly 900 horsepower. If this is going to be a CLK GTR, basically underneath, race tires, definitely mandatory. How did I not notice this before? It has drift suspension. This is so sick. This is the thing we need the most, though. It's a big, heavy car. Weight reduction, we go down to 3,500 pounds. Awesome. Oh, no. Now all of Twitch chat is yelling, drift it, drift it, drift it. After all of our upgrades, nearly 1,400 horsepower. Anyway, CLK GTR. It's a full-on race car. Take a look at the rain light down at the bottom of the bumper. It actually works. How cool. It just looks so mean. Like, when you compare it to other... Those gears are so weird. It's not properly tuned for a CLK GTR engine. That's crazy, the performance out of it, though. I mean, 1,400 horsepower. Never gonna be slow, but it's also like this engine is kind of light. Like, it's a big V12, but yet it's somehow still chuckable. And 1,400 horsepower. I would like to introduce you to the method of a switchback. Thank you. And for some reason, I'm racing around against a Volkswagen Beetle. I can't understand that either. Obviously, this won't be any, like, meta car or anything for any of the classes, because it's just too big and heavy at the end of the day. However, in terms of, like, sedans and, like, estate cars, this thing definitely has to be up there. Off the top of my head, I can't think of another, like, car like this where you can toss in such, like, an OP engine, like not even that CLK GTR, but the racing V12. That Mercedes might very well be, like, the quickest sedan slash estate car in this game. Some people bring up some good points in things like Ferraris and things like that, but I don't know, maybe it's just, like, my bias, but I feel like the Mercedes is just a better car. Last and final thing to do to this car. It's got drift mode, right? So... Why don't I do that in Forza Horizon 4? Well, it definitely drifts. I'm still on race tires. Keep that in mind. I'm just letting 1,300 horsepower, 1,400 horsepower do all the work right now. So, I mean, if you did actually activate drift mode in your E63S, I mean, if you had a CLK GTR engine in it as well, you could probably do something kind of like this. I mean, it's not the best drift car out there. It's still super, super heavy. It's on race tires. It's never gonna drift that well. I'm just saying, Daddy Doug would give this car, I am not even joking, an 80 out of 100. This thing is unfair and OP in every single manner. I would like to apologize. I am very biased towards these types of cars. I love the idea of, like, a sleeper sedan slash estate that, unknown to everybody else, has like 600 horsepower. I would have to say, after all of this, I have one thing to say. Forza Horizon 4, where is my estate version of this car? And can I please have the Audi RS6? That would be like the best head-to-head ever.